Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official score predictions on every single ranked game here for college football week 13, the final week of the regular season. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Let's get right into it. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we've got a nice little Thanksgiving evening matchup. Ole Miss and Mississippi State. In this one, there's a 7:30 start on ESPN. I have Ole Miss winning 37-29. Should be a higher scoring game. Matt Corral, this Ole Miss team, they're very motivated. Only 2 losses. They're thinking, do we get into a New Year's Six Bowl if we win this game against Mississippi State? Mississippi State, good offense, air raid team. I just think Ole Miss, quite frankly, is better. Going to be a really fun rivalry. Should be a good game throughout, but give me Matt Corral, Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss to come out on top. They will be motivated to get potentially into a New Year's Six Bowl. Moving on to Black Friday, what an early matchup we've got here. Boise State at 1-loss San Diego State, a noon start. Believe this game is on CBS. And I do have Boise State winning it 27-20. Boise State's one of the hottest teams in college football right now. They're destroying everyone in their path. San Diego State, the Aztecs, have had a great season. I think they're not as good as their record says they are. They have a subpar offense. You put pressure on that offense. Maybe Boise State jumps ahead early, uses the momentum they've had from the previous games. This team's on a roll. One of the top 20, maybe 25 teams in college football. I know Boise State has 4 losses, but they have completely caught fire, and that is why they're actually favored by Vegas in this game, probably surprising a lot of people. Give me Boise State early Black Friday matchup, 27-20. That would be San Diego State's second loss of the season. We've got another good one here on Black Friday, 1:30 on Big Ten Network. It's Iowa traveling to Nebraska, and folks, Nebraska is favored by 3.5 points in this game. I figured it would be a pick'em, but Vegas is saying, listen, Nebraska, we know their story, all of the close losses they've had this year. Iowa simply cannot move the ball. They can't get 300 yards of total offense to save their life in any single game. I have this game kind of being Scott Frost's official coming out party for Nebraska. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, you're at home. You know, everyone knows, Nebraska fans know this team is so close to really breaking through and at least being an 8 or 9 win team. I think this week they use the momentum at home. It's a holiday, 1:30 game, rivalry, and they get this win. And it really, because Scott Frost restructured his contract, he's going to be back next year. This really kicks off Nebraska football for next year, not going to a bowl. We know the story. They're better than the record. They've lost every game by a touchdown or less except the Ohio State game, and they lost that game by 9. Again, Iowa cannot move the ball. If Nebraska gets a turnover early, this could snowball on Iowa's offense. Playing catch-up is a terrible position for Iowa to be in. Give me Nebraska. That would only be Iowa's 3rd loss, by the way. It's crazy, but just Iowa's offense, not very good. Nebraska 26, Iowa 13. A 3:30 game here on Black Friday. It is Cincinnati coming off their absolute mauling of SMU. They're traveling to East Carolina. Cincinnati can feel it. They can smell the playoff spot. As long as Georgia beats Alabama and Cincinnati wins out, this is a very motivated football team to get into the playoffs. I have them winning this game 37-21. East Carolina, pretty good team this year. Not bad. Not this horrific team they've been in the past. But Cincinnati, you know, they're on the road, but they can feel it. They know they're so close to a playoff spot. You destroy SMU. You've got a huge game next week, or the week after this week. The American Championship versus Houston. They will be at home for that game if they win this one. Houston on a 10-game win streak right now. But this Cincinnati team, they're going to come in laser focused and they're going to get the job done. No nonsense football and beat East Carolina 37-21. We've got Missouri traveling to Arkansas. I'm not even sure if Arkansas will be ranked, although they did play pretty well against Alabama. Bama's defense really questionable right now. This is another 3:30 game. I have Arkansas winning closer than expected. I know Arkansas is 14-point favorites. I love me some KJ Jefferson. Like I said this on Saturday night when I was doing my recap, KJ Jefferson and Malik Cunningham, very similar quarterbacks. Both of those quarterbacks, I love the dual threat, the big-bodied, the Cam Newton type quarterback. Should be a fun game on CBS here, 3:30. 34-31, Missouri. You know what? I think they keep it close. I think they come out on Black Friday and say, you know what? We're tired of getting pushed around in the SEC. We're going to keep this game close. I'm not completely sure Arkansas will be ranked on Tuesday night again. They might still be, even though they lost to Alabama because it was a close game. We'll have to see. I personally don't think they should be, but again, it's the SEC. They're going to rank anyone. It is what it is. This is a 4 o'clock game. It is Colorado at Utah. Utah is another team just on an absolute tear right now, coming off the destruction of Oregon. I have this game being extremely one-sided. It's Utah 41-7. They are laser focused to get to that Pac-12 championship. They're laser focused to beat Oregon again in the Pac-12 championship and then go to the Rose Bowl possibly. That's on the line right now for this Utah team. They're going to cover the 24-point spread. It's a big number, but they're going to cover it. 4 o'clock at home. Colorado, terrible offense, not bad defense. Let's not disrespect Colorado's defense. I'm not going to. But Utah is simply way better. I said in my preseason video, Utah is going to surprise people. They lost the early games, but once they got their footing, this team possibly, I think they're the best team in the Pac-12 at this point. I really do. And that's not even that's not even a questionable statement. You destroy the supposed best team in the Pac-12. 35-7 or 38-7, whatever it was, you're the new best team in the Pac-12. But this team is on a tear right now. 7 o'clock. This is an evening Black Friday game. What a deal we have here. It's North Carolina at NC State. NC State's been so disrespected this year. I'm sick of it. Give me NC State 38-28. Sam Howell injured last week. I think he'll be back this week. They kind of just rested him. North Carolina, one of the most fun teams in college football because they have a horrific defense and a really good offense with Josh Downs and Sam Howell, and their running attack, Ty Chandler, having a really nice season. But NC State, solid defense, really solid ACC team. They've been disrespected. They're tired of hearing about it. They're tired of hearing about North Carolina's good recruiting. They want to get this win at home. They're going to be motivated to finish the season really strong and really cement that good year. What a great year for North Carolina State's program. What a great year. They win this game 38-28. These are the Saturday games. We're on to the noon window, and I'm not even sure I have to, announce these teams. It is Ohio State at Michigan, the rivalry. This is a top possible 5 matchup, depending on how the rankings shake out. We expect Ohio State to be ranked either 2nd or 3rd by the College Football Playoff Committee, and then Michigan will very likely be 5th. This game is in Ann Arbor. Right now, Ohio State sitting at an 8-point favorite. I have the final score 52-24. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, Ryan Day is possessed. I don't know by what, but this man, you talk about against Purdue, 45 points in the first half. The next week against Michigan State, 49 points in the first half. You're talking 7 drives in the first half for Ohio State, 7 touchdowns. We've never seen something like this. We've never seen something like this. Michigan, they're going to keep it close early. The pass rush should help them. But at the end of the day, folks, you really got to feel for Michigan. They're a great program that had a great season. But when you run into a buzzsaw, you run into a buzzsaw. And Michigan is running into a buzzsaw. Ohio State is looking like the number 1 team in college football right now. And their defense is improved. We'll have to see if Denzel Burke plays. Ohio State should be able to make Michigan State one-dimensional, make Cade McNamara make throws on 3rd down. And I've just got this game. It should be close early. Ohio State only 8-point favorites. But again, if you're Michigan, you had a great season. You're a no-nonsense football team. You're a football team that's extremely well coached. But you're facing a better, more talented team with a head coach that is just... It's crazy what Ohio State's doing. Another 50-burger. They win that one easily. Georgia at Georgia Tech. This is another noon game. Georgia is around 35-point favorites. Georgia Tech just got annihilated by Notre Dame. Notre Dame was up 45-0 in the first half of that game versus Georgia Tech. I've got this one maybe a little bit closer, 41-10. Georgia gets the win. I'm really wondering Georgia's motivation in this game. And to me, if they get up like 35-7 early 3rd quarter, I think they're just going to rest everyone. I really do. They're not going to put it out to chance. They know what they have to do. They know they have Alabama coming up in the SEC championship. They want no injuries. This is a game they're going to easily win no matter what, even though it's at Georgia Tech. So it should be a very boring game. The under will probably hit. I'm not sure what the over-under in this game is, but their defense should swarm Georgia Tech, and they should win this game very easily, and then they'll probably rest their starters for most of the second half. Another noon matchup, we've got Wake Forest traveling to Boston College. Wake Forest coming off that disappointing loss to Clemson. What do? I've got them responding impressively, winning this game 37-22. Kind of an interesting 22 points for Boston College. Not sure how they're going to get there, but I just feel this game's going to be a weird score. Sam Hartman's still a really good player. Wake Forest. See, the Wake Forest, they have to realize, don't let the Clemson loss derail your season. You've had a great season. You've been one of the top teams in the ACC. You had a potential Heisman candidate at quarterback in Sam Hartman. Don't let one loss derail your season. If you lose to Boston College, what a letdown that would be. They're not going to let it happen. I love Wake Forest, -5 in this game. Love their offense. Boston College, not very good this season, coming off a loss at home to FSU. Give me Wake Forest to get back on track in the noon window and get the win there. We have Houston traveling to Connecticut, the University of UConn. UConn, one of the worst teams in FBS. I have Houston winning this game very easily, 51-14, which will then set up the absolute huge matchup in the American. Houston, they'd have, I believe, 11 straight wins at that point at Cincinnati in the American Championship game. Really, there's not much to analyze here. I believe Houston is around 32.5-point favorites in this one. UConn, I would go probably the 5th worst team in FBS. They're certainly not the worst team. I would certainly put UMass as the worst team. New Mexico and New Mexico State probably as worst. Those teams, New Mexico cannot score. New Mexico's offense, just horrific. New Mexico State, just a really bad team. But UConn, really bad as well. So 51-14, this game should not be close at all. Houston should run their winning streak to, at this point, I think, 10 or 11. What a season they've had. Another noon game, we've got Texas Tech traveling to Baylor. I'm not expecting a lot of offense in this one. I am expecting Baylor to get the job done. You know, Baylor really did impress me last weekend getting that win over Kansas State. We know Kansas State's offense isn't very good, but you're Baylor. You're coming off that emotional high, that emotional win, beating Oklahoma and really mauling Oklahoma and shutting Oklahoma down. You're going on the road to a team, Kansas State, good defense, bad offense. You're favored by 1 point. It's basically a pick-em, and you shut Kansas State down and win that game 20-10. There is a quarterback injury. The starting quarterback for Baylor is injured. We'll have to see if he plays, but I still think this should be an easy win. Texas Tech, you got like 70 yards of total offense against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has a good defense. We'll talk about them coming up here in a little at Bedlam. But Texas Tech, you got to get more than 70 yards of total offense in a game. I don't care what defense you're facing. That's embarrassing, folks. It's 31-10, the final score there. We move to the 2 o'clock window. It is the University of Texas San Antonio putting their undefeated record on the line at North Texas, and I am a fan of North Texas personally. I do have UTSA, though, coming out on top here, 34-27. UTSA barely beating UAB, kind of on the last drive of the game. They come back and beat them. They are still undefeated, but probably not a top 20 team in college football. I'm fine with the committee ranking them inside the top 20. Again, they are undefeated, but their level of competition and the way they're winning some of these games, it's not that impressive. We'll just have to see. I'm guessing they're going to slide in between like 15 and 20th in the updated poll. You have to respect they are undefeated. North Texas, not a bad team. This is a game that North Texas possibly could get an upset. UTSA only 12-point favorite, so it's not terrible. Higher scoring. I like the over in this game, but I do like UTSA to continue their undefeated season, winning 34-27. Moving on to the 3:30 window, I'm not sure what network this was on. I'm guessing it's going to be on CBS. It is Alabama at Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Auburn dealing with that Bo Nix injury. I have Alabama winning this game pretty easily, 45-28. I do like Auburn to cover. Alabama right now, 19-point favorites in this game. Their offense is clicking right now. Auburn, on the other hand, the quarterback injury. Bama's defense really is susceptible. That's why I have Auburn scoring 28 points. Like the over in this game, even without Bo Nix, even if Bo Nix is out. Rivalry, maybe it's close early, but Auburn right now at 6-5, just not a very good team. Alabama has to win. They know they have to win to stay in the college football playoff race. That's a big motivating factor. Obviously, I think they get it done. The rivalry there, 45-28. We've got the Civil War. It is Oregon State traveling to Oregon. Oregon looking to get back on track after that tough loss. Oregon State is not a bad team. They just deleted Arizona State with a very impressive win on Saturday night when everyone went to bed. I do have Oregon, though, getting the win. This is me betting on Mario Cristobal. After a tough loss, you bet on the head coach. Is the head coach going to have his team ready to play the next game? Are they going to be motivated? I think this Oregon team, the Oregon defense, they're going to be motivated. They know they still can win the Pac-12 championship and go to the Rose Bowl. That would be an extremely successful season for this program. They're going to be motivated just because you lost one game. Sure, you got blown out. they're still ready to play. They know they get a rematch with Utah coming up in the Pac-12 championship game as long as they win this game, and I do have them winning this game 34-24. That is a 3:30 game. Maybe that's on ESPN. I'm not exactly sure. This game, I believe, is on ABC, 3:30. Penn State at Michigan State. It'll be interesting if Penn State does crack the top 25 in the Tuesday rankings. I hope they do. They deserve it. Sean Clifford dealing with an injury. Michigan State, they get absolutely destroyed by Ohio State. We know what happened there. They have injuries. Kenneth Walker, is he 100%? We'll have to see. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I love the under. And Penn State, I just trust James Franklin a little bit more than Mel Tucker right now. This is one of those games. These teams are ridiculously evenly matched. I believe it was a pick'em when this game opened, but it might be MSU -1 right now. They're so evenly matched, and you have the injuries. It's really just a crapshoot. Which coach can get more out of his players? Can Penn State go into East Lansing and say, you know what? We've had a tough season, but this would be a big win for us. I think they get it done 20-17. Michigan State, Kenneth Walker, you're going to have to lean on him. But overall, hopefully one of their receivers comes back, whether it's Naylor or Reed. I know both are dealing with injuries. Just a tough game at the end of the season with so many injuries involved. I'm expecting a lower scoring one there. 4 o'clock game, we have another rivalry here. It is Wisconsin traveling to Minnesota. Wisconsin on an absolute tear right now. And I do have the Badgers easily getting by Minnesota 31-7. Minnesota's offense, they just can't score. Tanner Morgan, he's a veteran. I understand it. They have no receivers. They're on their 6th string running back. Minnesota will be motivated under PJ Fleck coming into this game. They're going to have energy. Maybe this game is only 14-7 at half, but Wisconsin and their offense, their true freshman running back Allen is so impressive, along with that defense going up against that terrible Minnesota offense. I just don't know how Minnesota's going to keep up and score. Wisconsin pulls away in the second half and wins this game easily, and they will be going into the Big Ten championship game on an absolute streak, probably a top 12 team in college football, in the college football rankings, going into that Big Ten championship game against a likely Ohio State. On to the night window, it is Texas A&M traveling to LSU. Texas A&M beating Prairie View last week. LSU handled Louisiana Monroe, although they didn't cover. I have Texas A&M winning kind of a lower scoring game, 24-14. Not a lot going on with this one. Texas A&M, you know, they have 3 losses at this point, but you're still motivated if you're Texas A&M. You still can get maybe into a big-time bowl. LSU, nothing to play for. I just don't see how LSU can win this game against Texas A&M's defense. Lower scoring, like the under in this game. I'm not sure what the over-under is. If I had to guess, I'd go maybe 51, maybe 50. That's just a guess. I'm not sure what it is, but I would still like the under. These are just 2 teams, not great offenses, really good defenses, especially for Texas A&M. They'll shut LSU down. LSU, they've just been in such a tough situation, really since like game 2 when we all knew Ed Orgeron was going to be a lame duck coach. This is a terrible situation for the players. How do you get motivated for games like this? It is again, you're facing probably a top 20 or top 15 Texas A&M team with a good defense. That should be enough motivation, but it's just with the coaching influx there, it's so tough. Give me Texas A&M to win in Death Valley at 7 o'clock. Next, we have Bedlam, the second biggest game of college football Saturday behind Michigan, Ohio State. It is Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. And ladies and gentlemen, I love what I see from Oklahoma State. I think they win this game 31-17. Caleb Williams, he is a true freshman. Let's not get on him too much, but really inaccurate the past few weeks. And that was his major issue in high school, was being inaccurate, around 50% completion percentage throughout all of high school. And then in college, last week, 8 of 18 for like 80 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's really struggling right now. And facing this Oklahoma State defense on the road, that's a recipe for disaster. Oklahoma's offense, I never thought I'd say it, but they are scuffling, and they're going to struggle at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State having such a great year, really well-rounded team, but mainly based on defense. The offense kind of lacking. I think they use the crowd energy. It's Bedlam. It's their time. They want to make a Big 12 championship game. This is their time. They're around 3-point favorites. I think they cover that. It's not Oklahoma's year. It's Oklahoma State's year. They get the job done, and they win this huge rivalry game. We have Pitt traveling to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome, and I think Pitt, this final game of the regular season, is just going to go absolute crazy. I'm expecting Kenny Pickett 5 or 6 touchdowns. He's having one of those magical seasons we always talk with random college quarterbacks, along with Sam Hartman. Those 2 guys just come out of nowhere and play this well. It's great to see. So give me Pitt in this one. They did beat Virginia was a closer game, but I like Pitt big in this one. I love the over. Pitt possibly with a 50-burger final game of the regular season. They win this one 52-28. And then in a late game here on Saturday, Notre Dame finishing out their regular season. They will be taking on Stanford as they gear up possibly for a New Year's Six Bowl. I've got Notre Dame winning this game 34-12. It is kind of a weird score for Stanford. I don't know how they get to 12, but Stanford's just been a weird team all year. Maybe they get a safety, a field goal, and a touchdown. Maybe they kick 4 field goals. I don't know. I just have this final score being 34-12. I like the under in this game. Notre Dame's defense, they've been amazing, although they haven't faced the toughest competition, especially when you factor in Brendan Armstrong being out in that Virginia game, facing a true freshman quarterback. But Notre Dame, what a season they've had. You know, they've basically been eliminated from the playoffs ever since the Cincinnati game, which was like week 4, week 5. But they said, we're not going to let it derail our season. We still want that New Year's Six berth. And if this was a 12-team playoff, Notre Dame would be right in it and 100% a lock to make the playoff. That's why we need to expand the playoff to 12 teams with the first 4 teams getting byes. Just like I've said in previous videos, we do have one more game to cap off the Week 13 slate. It is BYU traveling to USC. USC coming off that crazy high-scoring loss to UCLA. BYU trying to stay ranked. They're a top 15 team according to the committee, and I do have them getting the job done 34-28. I think BYU will be more incentivized to get this win, get into a good bowl. They're ranked really high. You want to cap off the regular season strong. USC, they've got talent, of course. We know the story with USC, the coaching, the interim coach. Who knows? I don't see them upsetting BYU, even though they are at home. This should be a closer game, but give me BYU to get the win. They are ready. They want to go to a nice bowl. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the Week 13 game predictions. I will hopefully have bowl predictions, so that'll be a long video when I get into all the bowls and stuff like that. But Week 13, the final week of the regular season, and then we have, of course, the conference championship weekend, and then that leads us right into the bowl season in December. Guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. That link's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.